Imagine prison, except you have to pay thousands of dollars for your punishment, which by the way isn't making the world better with community service, but instead learning how to make it worse from socialist sociopaths. A lot of potential for crazy, right? Here are the top 5 most insane happenings on college campuses this year. 5. Randy Lowry, Lipscomb University president, apologized to black students after hosting them for dinner. Why? Did the N-word tumble out of his mouth? Did he accidentally bind them in chains and thrust them onto the university auction block? No. Lowry had committed the mortal sin of displaying a centerpiece made from cotton on his dinner table. Oh, and he also, according to one student, served black meals, which are apparently mac and cheese, collard greens, and cornbread. Yum! Perhaps Rachel Dolezal's not the only trans black. The president issued an apology saying the content of the centerpieces was offensive, and I could have handled the situation with more sensitivity. I sincerely apologize for the discomfort, anger, or disappointment we caused and solicit your forgiveness. Yes, it doesn't matter if millions of whites also picked cotton. There will be no more cotton decorations for you. We'll be taking that centerpiece, and I know you think you're being sneaky, but we'll be also confiscating that t-shirt and underwear. 4. This time last year, a self-admitted communist professor made headlines for tweeting, "All I want for Christmas is white genocide." In October, he was back, this time to blame a mass murder on whites. Still don't know the motive for Las Vegas? Well, George Cicarello Marr knew in just a matter of hours, tweeting, "It's the white supremacist patriarchy, stupid." White people and men are told that they are entitled to everything. This is what happens when they don't get what they want. Well, Sicko Marr, which is what I'll call him, the professor certainly got what he wanted from this tweet. Attention. Drexel University placed him on leave, citing threats he received and concerns about the safety of the campus. And Cicarello should be afraid. Not of the threats, but of the possibility that his communist dream could one day be realized. I mean, come on. How many days do you think this guy would last in the gulag? 3. Evergreen State College perfectly showcased the hypocrisy of the left when it comes to diversity, with its Day of Absence, on which whites were supposed to self-segregate by leaving the campus. When Professor Brett Weinstein dared to protest this event, well, see for yourself.
History could pivot in the direction of the values that you are standing here for.
Yeah, resign.
What?
Resign.
We're not resigning.
Ho ho! These racist teachers have got to go! Hey hey! Ho ho! These racist teachers have got to go!
And here's how the students treated their president, George Bridges.
No, fuck you, George. We don't want to hear a goddamn thing you have to say. You talk so fucking much. No, you shut the fuck up.
You know you gotta put your hands down.
It's a bit sickening, isn't it? Authority figures aren't always the most pleasant, but you can at least treat them as though they're human. But this is the kind of otherization and zapping of empathy that often precedes left-wing violence. Sure, nearly every study condemns it and Washington State bans it, but incidents like these make you wonder whether corporal punishment in schools wouldn't be a good thing after all. Shortly after the protest, Evergreen's police chief resigned, and it seems like it wasn't just because of the entitled brats, but also because of an administration so hell-bent on social justice, it will sacrifice the safety of its own students.
Is it a funding issue you don't have rifles, or it's some sort of a philosophical reason you don't have them?
It's philosophical.
Does it concern you, though, that if you had an active shooter, that might be a necessary, and I don't know law enforcement and the importance of having rifles, but I'm just
It concerns me greatly. We should have rifles, in my opinion.
Oh, okay. So whose decision was it not to have rifles? Wasn't you, wasn't your department?
It's not me.
Do you know whose decision that was?
The college administration.
Lawmakers tried to privatize Evergreen, thereby depriving it of its state funding. But the left unfortunately dominates Washington's state legislature. That's not to say that will always be the case. If Evergreen doesn't want to end up like Mizzou and lose 25% of its students and $30 million in its budget, it had better shape up. 2. When police officers fail to prevent left-wing violence and the media fail to cover it afterward, there's at least one institution we can all rely on. That's right, 4chan. Diablo Valley College professor Eric Clanton bashed in a Trump supporter's head with a bike lock during an April Berkeley protest.
Here you are! Because you have a mask on!
Motherfucker! Oh shit, he's bleeding. Yo! Hey, man! He's bleeding!
And he would have gotten away with it too, if it weren't for those meddling meme lords with their weaponized autism. 4chan analyzed Clanton's facial structure, skin tone, hairline, and apparel to match the cloaked Antifa culprit up with his unmasked counterpart. Police arrested Clanton about a month after 4chan identified him as the assailant. He got his pre-trial date this month. I'll leave you with this thought before number 1. What does it say about our institutions of learning when a violent professor who prefers weapons over words teaches nothing other than ethics, philosophy, and critical thinking? 1. Now, in case you needed any reminder that the West is the best, this one should do it for you. A mob of students and school officials in Pakistan stripped student Mashal Khan naked and smashed his skull with a flower pot, their feet, and planks. What did Khan do to deserve this? Rape or kill someone in an even more violent fashion? No, Khan was accused of blasphemy. A charge of which he was later cleared, by the way. Not that that even matters. Khan had criticized the university administration, and a student and university official plotted to murder him because he was apparently a danger to the school's chapter of the Democratic Socialist Awami National Party. Now, it may be hard to fathom a student getting killed for blasphemy in the West, but perhaps not as much after seeing the violence of Eric Clanton and other Antifa activists. Public shaming has existed since the early days of Twitter, but social justice warriors converted it into a vehicle for getting their political opponents fired from their jobs. 2017 saw further escalation, as Trump supporters got beaten up on the streets by black masked thugs. A bike lock, some pepper spray, or a few punches, followed by a quick retreat. But how much longer until Antifa is further emboldened by sympathetic professors like George Ciccarello and Mark Bray to finish the job, like with poor Mashal Khan? I'm Rob Shimshock, and this is why we need a Campus Unmasked. If you like this video and support our mission, please make sure to comment and subscribe. If something happens on your campus and you'd like us to cover it, send us details using the form on campusunmasked.com.